looking back to those who lived in fear. There was nothing I could do. There was nothing you said that could make me realize how much lucky I was. Just out of reach of the fire, was not aware of the nightmare. But when I stopped to see through sight, begging for help, begging for hope, just need to open my eyes now to try to change them to sunshine, to be someone among others. I've got to try to see if I bleed tonight, if I exist tonight. I don't have the time to find. If I wait tonight, I'm so tired tonight. I'm falling asleep when I'm home. When I'm there's no way to go, no one that can see through that side of the light. I can see my life is crap. I have to see them too. I just live into my world, far from the pain, the feel. Was out of reach of the fire, was not aware of the start of hell. But when I stop to see through sight, begging for help, begging for hope, just need to open my eyes now to try to change them to sunshine, to be someone among us.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Turnbuckle Studios and the Force Nest brings you its Raw Preview Review Show. I am your host, OMD. Yes, I am back, and joining me tonight is Chris Best. Bubba Duke is away at work, and the Bulkster decided he didn't want to do the right hand. He wanted to go lefty tonight. How are we doing, Mr. Best?
Doing pretty good. Doing a little excited for tonight.
Yes. Thank you for joining me here. I know this was a last-minute throw-in, and you've had a busy day as we spent a good couple hours together this afternoon.
Yeah, we did. Trying to figure out your capture situation, as we're going to call it.
Yes. So as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, I have a new setup here, and this is a trial run this week. We'll see how it works out. Mr. Best got a partial first-hand view of it tonight. I'm hoping to have the full proper setup done tomorrow. I'm just trying to decide if I want to keep the shirts up behind me or if I want to switch to ball caps.
Right.
So anyways, on to the Raw review from last week. We had Damian Priest defeating Carlito to kick off the show after a promo.
Yeah, and this actually made sense to me because of the fact that right now what they're doing with Damian Priest is they're having him go through every individual member of the Judgment Day one-on-one until he gets his hands on Finn.
Yes.
That's the vibe that I'm getting off of this.
Right. And I don't know if you noticed, but I noticed last week when we watched Raw, the first three segments were all Damian Priest and Judgment Day-esque heavy, even because it was Rhea that did the opening promo. And then Damian showing up behind Liv and Dom in the stands. And then into the match, followed by, after the match, Damian and Rhea celebrating in the ring and then getting their hands on Dom.
Right.
But what I liked with that, as much as it was, boom, so much right away in your face, that was it for the night.
Yeah, I was fine with that because we got everything. We got the story told for that week for the Judgment Day. We didn't need anything anymore out of them. We were by that point, by the time they finished with the Judgment Day stuff, I was ready to move on. There was a part of me that wanted to see what the New Day was going to do, or the CM Punk stuff that we got later on. And we got Corporate Joe coming in saying, "Hey guys," and he's commenting on your setup, saying he likes your new setup.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that, brother. Yeah, this was actually a really good match for the way it started with Carlito jumping it, but then Damian really seizing control early.
Yeah,
Um,
Carlito was on a whole different level last Monday, and I loved it.
Yeah. Because again, this was something that I would have anticipated as a squash, given, Priest heat and towards the Judgment Day and the way that story's going.
hmm
Um, with Carlito, well, I guess Carlito now a full-fledged member of the new Judgment Day. So then we get Odyssey Jones versus Vincent Winey in a squash match.
Yeah, I found myself trying to find out who the hell this guy was.
Yes. He's apparently been on NXT Level Up from everything I've heard.
hmm
And apparently he's got a thing with Cora Jade.
Oh, okay.
That's about all I can tell you.
I mean,
Um,
it was just a squash match. That's all it was to me.
yeah. This was a squash match. I guess really to get Odyssey Jones some noticeability on the main roster.
Yeah, and Odyssey looked fantastic, by the way, in this match.
He did. I mean, and because it's been over a year since we've seen him, even in NXT, you forget what he can actually do.
Yeah. And I'm actually a guy who didn't get to see him in NXT.
Right.
Because when he got the call up, I was still like dipping my toe back into the NXT pool around that time.
Right.
And then he turned into Veer Mahan. And we were like, where is he?
Right. So, yeah, this was a squash match. But it's interesting, and we will get to Odyssey Jones again later on when we do our previews for tonight. Then we get American Made and Alpha Academy in a tag match.
I liked this match. I really found myself totally just enjoying seeing Otis being happy again in his matches.
Right.
Because as we know, in the last couple of weeks before they split up, Chad Gable was really like riding Otis's coattails hard, and you can see that we couldn't wait for that break apart from Otis. But there was a part of me that was expecting the Wyatt Six to show up in this, given their situation with American Made,
Right. And I think what happened to give American Made the win, and the Creed brothers specifically, and we saw it teased even before the match when Ivy Nile said, "Come back and join your family," to Maxine.
Mm-hmm.
She gave us that Easter egg that she was staying with the Creeds. Does this mean, and this is where I think we could actually see the debut of Abby the Witch, or Nikki Cross, as it were.
Yeah.
Taking on Ivy Nile. Because of that.
Yeah, and that won't be tonight, because Ivy Nile is scheduled to be in action tonight.
Yes.
Against Maxine.
Yes, but I think that's where we could see the targeting.
Yeah, and Jesus, Maxine, that bump on the table that she took towards the end,
right?
Just holy Christ.
Right? That was fantastic work from Maxine. She has come so far in such a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
I see her potentially reaching a Carmella level. I'm not going to put her up as high as Liv Morgan, but I can see her reaching a Carmella level.
I get a feeling every time I watch Maxine, like, I won't lie, my first thought when I saw her was blonde bimbo who doesn't know what she's doing in the WWE.
Right.
I literally got that vibe off her. But then, like, some months ago when I watched her do the interview with Chris Van Vliet, I managed to change my opinion on her and realize that she is a hardworking girl. And eventually she could get to that status, that status where she could be a good in-ring worker.
Yes, absolutely. Sorry, I am calling up the list on my phone for the preview review. So, Again, I thought this was a fantastic match. And I think eventually you are going to see this break down to an 8-person mixed tag.
Mm-hmm.
Where does Alpha Academy get that 4th person?
I mean, just because Alpha Academy getting that 4th person. Well, just because they had their interaction last week, somebody from Chase U, perhaps.
Okay.
Who could that be, though? That's the thing.
I would say probably a Duke Hudson, because Riley Osborne has his TNA deal and he will be at Emergence.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got Chase and Ridge as the NXT tag champs, so I could see it being Duke Hudson. But
Okay, yeah.
I want to pitch another name to you. It's a man that was recently let go by AEW when they chose not to renew his contract. And that would be Jack Swagger.
I could get behind that. I can get behind Jack coming back. Because Hunter, I think Hunter would know what to do with him and how to book him.
Yep. And then can you imagine a one-on-one between Chad Gable and Jack Swagger?
Oh, that would be a fun match to watch. That really would. The problem I usually have with Swagger, though, is that he doesn't have charisma for the most part. His in-ring, fantastic. Just needs a little bit work on the way he cuts his promos, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I'm an advocate for that. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know what Jack Swagger wants to do, or Jake Hager as he was. If he wants to come back, if he wants to remain a free agent, do the indie thing for a while, or just take time off.
Right. That he's from what I've seen, he's been pretty silent as far as his departure from AEW goes. And meanwhile, we've got Bulkster coming in saying, "Hi guys, glad to see you. Glad to see you too, Bulkster. Good to have you around." Are you there, OMD? I think OMD is frozen on my screen. Oh, he just lost power. So he's yeah, there he goes. He's gone now. Jesus. Okay, so just give me a second here while I pull up the notes from last week's Raw for myself here. Just gonna go right here. Monday Night Raw results. Bulkster coming in saying he misses the old couch already. Well, we got me on my couch, so that's all good. But OMD, yeah, he's got a brand new setup. I was over there this afternoon trying to help him out with that. Give me 1 second here. Okay, so update on OMD. He's like, right? He's laughing at it. Came right back, but everything needs to boot up again. Oh, geez. So we're just going to take, you know what? We're going to take a moment here, showcase some of the stuff that we've got going on right here at Turnbuckle Studios while we wait for Dan's return, or OMD's return, I should say. And yeah, that's everything you can find right now going on at Turnbuckle Studios. Still waiting on OMD to come back here. We're looking at. We were talking about Odyssey Jones there, and I was just saying that Odyssey looked fantastic out there in that first match. We moved on to Alpha Academy and American Made. We talked about Jack Swagger possibly coming in and joining Alpha Academy. But at the same time, this is something that I was going to bring up to OMD here. Jack Swagger's a natural heel. So for him to come in, I think he could work better. Yeah, he could work better as a member of American Made. Teaming with Jack Swagger, he could totally be like the muscle of the group, as it were. With, of course, the Creed brothers being the tag team, and Chad Gable being that the leader and, you know, the technical guy, as it were. Sorry, just taking a drink of that lemonade here. One of the notable moments in that match, obviously, was Ivy Niles attacking Maxine. That was just the way that she got taken out and ended up on that table was just awesome. But next up, we had Damage Control and taking on Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. This was actually interesting, and this actually led up to one of the things that's going to be happening later on tonight on Monday Night Raw. The match ended up in a no contest. This was actually a very, very competitive match from what I remember. Watching. Sorry, I'm just looking at something here. Trying to figure it out here. The reason why it ended up in a no contest was because of Isla Dawn and Alba Fire showing up at ringside, thus leading to a triple threat women's tag team title match tonight, which is oh my god, that match is going to be friggin' fire tonight. Going to be awesome. Next up, we had Randy Orton and Gunther talking it out in the ring. Of course, Randy coming out, talking about how he's challenging Gunther for the world title at Bash in Berlin. didn't take long for the ring general to make his presence felt. They traded some insults and jokes. The Vipers' mood, though, then changed when Gunther brought up Cowboy Bob Orton Jr. and Bob Orton Sr. And before they could come to blows, for whatever reason, this is the one that really surprised me here, but Drew McIntyre showing up during this segment. However, and this is something that I called out on the last week's show. I'm like, we still have yet to see the RKO from Randy Orton, and certainly, just as Drew was coming out, Gunther got distracted by that and caught Gunther with the RKO. Now, as that was happening, they started brawling. But as Drew was making his way out, CM Punk then made his presence felt, and suddenly we had two angles going on at once in one segment, which was awesome. It was awesome to see that, actually. Yeah, this was awesome. The feud between Punk and McIntyre is obviously it's far from over, and I'm expecting that on tonight's Raw Patrol or Monday Night Raw. I'm expecting that we are going to see some more out of that. All right, just give me 1 second. I kind of lost my link here. Sorry. Still waiting on OMD to come back if he ever does make his presence felt here. But yeah, you guys in the chat, let me know, like, just what did you guys think of the whole Randy Orton Gunther situation? As well as the CM Punk attacking McIntyre, because like I didn't expect McIntyre or Punk to attack McIntyre, and it got me really wondering like what McIntyre was trying to do with Orton and Gunther. Let's say Punk didn't show up, like what was his intentions? And then, you know what, we're going to move on to the next matchup, which was a match that was made earlier in the night in a backstage segment where R-Truth made a match for The Miz to take on Bronson Reed. Yeah, The Miz was not happy about this match, and oh, I heard the beep. Do we have the OMD?
You should.
I see yeah, but not your camera.
No, that's
the Elgato stuff.
Yes.
What the frig? Okay, so you're gonna need to change your camera settings.
Apparently.
So you can just do that right there in the StreamYard, dude.
Yes, I can.
Now that's got me confused based on what we were doing earlier, dude.
Right? There we go. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. My power literally just went out and then came back, but it takes 5 minutes for everything to reboot.
Yeah, I tried to get everything. Where did you leave off when we were were we talking about
we were wrapping up on the American Made and Alpha Academy.
Yeah, I actually had a thought about that too. Because Jack Swagger, we were talking about Jack Swagger coming in, and being a part of that. And I got to thinking to myself while you were gone, Jack Swagger's a natural heel.
Right.
I think it would be perfect for him to actually be a part of American Made as the Muscle.
Right. But I don't. But see, you've got Julius and Brutus, who, yes, they are the tag team, but they are that muscle.
Yeah.
And if Jack Swagger does come back, the pop he would receive. I mean, it will not be a Road Warrior. It will not be an Austin pop. It will not be a Cody pop, but it'll be a pop.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, that just puts literally, that then gets you right back to Chad and Swagger against the Creeds at some point.
Yeah. But as I said, like, because he's got that look about him,
Yeah.
and pun intended, that swagger about him.
Right.
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 It would be interesting though to see just how he would play off as a babyface, because even when he was doing like the babyface stuff in the AEW, still got heel vibes off him.
He did, yes. But that's the thing with AEW is just about everybody does that. Everybody there is a tweener, with the exception of maybe the Elite.
Well, you heard my feelings about them when we went to Best Buy today, so
Yep, that I did. That I did. So next up, we had a no contest between Damage Control and the Pure Fusion Collective.
Yeah, and I was actually just finishing discussing this with everybody else there. I'm actually super excited about this, what we're getting tonight because of what happened here. This ended because of Alba Fire and Isla Dawn showing up in the middle of the match to try and take out everybody.
Yep.
And it just devolved into an all-out brawl between all 6 women.
Yes.
But what's got me excited, and you and I were talking about this also earlier today, is the fact that Isla Dawn and Alba Fire are finally getting some TV time.
Yes.
And this 6 women, this triple threat match is definitely going to put them to the test to see whether they can hang and bang with them. As much as I like Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler in the match later tonight, I kind of want to see Alba Fire and Isla Dawn continue on with the tag titles.
I do too, but I would also not be opposed to going to Io and Kyrie.
Oh yeah, I'm never opposed to Kairi Sane, by the way. She's just
I mean, there's really, for people like us, there's not a bad choice to who wins this match.
No, in the end, the fans come out the winners in this match because all 6 of these women are going to put on a friggin' banger for us.
Yes. Yes, I had actually forgotten about this match but yes, it was only a tag team match last week instead of being a 6-woman, which I thought it was.
Yeah, that's what I was under the impression of too, because I thought I believe Sonya Deville. Yeah, I thought Sonya Deville was going to be involved in some way, and I thought Dakota Kai was going to be involved in some way, but now Dakota Kai is out for 2 months.
That she is. My poor girl.
I know, it's just, I love you, Dakota, but geez, get those knees fixed, please.
Yes. Then we had Bronson Reed defeating The Miz.
Yeah, and to preface this match, the way this match came about was in a very funny segment earlier in the night. We had The Miz and R-Truth chilling out in the locker room, just doing whatever. R-Truth then suddenly turns to Miz and says, "Hey, I got a match for you tonight." Miz is, of course, excited because he's going to be wrestling a match. And R-Truth is like, "Yeah, you're going to be fighting Bronson Reed."
No, he said you're facing Braun Breaker.
Oh, right.
And yes, I mean, Truth is comedy gold. And then Randy Orton just comes in, and Orton, as only Orton can do, just adds to R-Truth's comedy.
Yeah. It was just, oh man, the stuff that R-Truth can do with just about everybody on the locker room is just gold. I can't even think of a guy where he's had like something a terrible segment with him. And I know everybody's going to be like, "Oh, R-Truth and John Cena was terrible." It was not. I'm going to fight you guys on that one because I
It was
liked
not.
that.
It was one of the best comedic rivalries for its time.
And even that match, even though people are like R-Truth should never have had a WWE title match, that match at Capital Punishment wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't.
I really enjoyed that match.
And how can you sit there and say that R-Truth should never have had a WWE championship match? We are talking about a former NWA champion, former TNA champion. I realize it's sort of the same thing, but I'm going to count it as both.
Yeah.
Former WWE tag champ, former US champ. He absolutely should. I would love to see an R-Truth title run to solidify his career.
Yeah, that would have been that'd be awesome. Hey, I ended up going a little too far in my because I got the results pulled up now too.
Right. And then lastly, we had 2 out of 3 falls. Braun Breaker defeating Sami Zayn to retain the Intercontinental Championship.
You skipped over one of the biggest segments of the night, by the way. Randy Orton confronting Gunther.
Yes, I don't post those results. That is thanks to our friend the Bulkster.
Oh, okay. But no, this was easily the segment of the night. Yes. The promo that these two cut against one another, the insults, how deep Gunther cut Randy Orton on that promo, especially mentioning Bob Orton Jr. and Sr.
Yep.
And then we had Drew McIntyre randomly show up, and that got me wondering, like, had the next person not shown up, what was Drew's intentions, you know?
Right.
Because as Drew was making his way to the ring, CM Punk suddenly makes his way to the ring, and it feels like we've got Raw 1998 all over again with two different feuds in one segment going on, and it was awesome to see.
It was brilliant. It was beautiful. It was masterful storytelling.
Yeah, and
I think tonight we are going to see, or at least at some point down the road or in the near future, leading to Bash in Berlin, I think we are going to see Randy Orton and CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre and Gunther.
I do potentially see that, and even hell, I know Punk is going to be looking for a title shot, depending on whatever Seth's contract situation is. Could turn that into a fatal 4-way at some point.
Yes.
But yeah, let's go on to the main event. And when I say main event, I mean this match tore the friggin' house down.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I mean, is there anything Sami Zayn can't do?
Is there anything Braun can't do?
Right.
Both these men, like, usually when I think 2 out of 3 falls, I still kind of think of the old way, and I'm like, do I really want 2 out of 3 falls? But they gave these guys a lot of time, and they didn't rush everything.
No, and I've noticed that even, over the last few years, and I'll take it back to an AEW pay-per-view, and it was the Briscoes versus FTR has started this new longer-term 2 out of 3 falls as opposed to 2 5-minute falls and then a 15-minute fall.
Now, granted, that first fall did come within at least the first 10 minutes, I think it was.
Yeah.
But that made sense because you had this monster in Braun Breaker who's kind of getting a little bit on the cocky side, but forgets that Sami Zayn can go. So Sami catches him with that haluva kick, gets that first pinfall,
Yeah, absolutely.
Then Braun's like, crap, I'm in an actual match here,
Yep.
And then...
But we saw it at Money in the Bank where Braun said, I underestimated Sami.
Mm-hmm.
And even Sami said, I underestimated what Braun could do.
Yeah.
Then you had the title change at SummerSlam. Now, where do you go with the Intercontinental title for Braun Breaker?
Yeah, okay, so for anybody who missed out on last week's Raw, this whole match ended up in a 2-1 pinfall, 2-1 victory for Braun Breaker, and what was just awesome. Where do we go next with Braun? Because it feels like right now that was the closing of the door for that feud for the time being.
For the time
Because
being, yes.
it is starting to feel like that Sami Zayn is going to go off with Jey Uso, and that's a situation that we're probably going to talk about on Friday. So,
Yes.
but with Braun Breaker, like I'm trying to think like who could step up and be that credible contender for the Intercontinental title. That's the key word, credible. You know.
I'm going to, well, I mean, there are so many different names that you could put out there. I'm thinking you need to have, dare I say it, another Elimination Chamber match or a six-way. Because
Or
you can put Sheamus,
yeah,
Pete Dunne, Ludwig Kaiser, Ilya Dragunov.
there's the name right there. Dragunov could be the next dude because it was Braun Breaker who took him down.
It was. But Dragunov's run on the main roster has not been great, so to speak.
Yeah, so to speak, because he's put on fantastic matches, and it is firmly believable that he could easily just give just give Braun that run for the Intercontinental title. And I said this before, but I do believe that Ilya could be the one who challenges Braun at Bash in Berlin for the Intercontinental title. And I know we're under 2 weeks away, and most of the matches should be set in stone by now.
It's going to depend on when they bring Ilya back from his injury.
Maybe we see him come back tonight.
We might. But let's quickly jump through tonight because I know we both have to get ready for the Raw Patrol at 8 p.m. Eastern right here on Turnbuckle Studios.
Yep.
We do have Sheamus versus Pete Dunne.
Yeah, and as I was putting in, because the reason why I hopped in late during our intro was because I was still trying to get the stuff done for that.
Right.
And I put in my intro, does Sheamus in my description, does Sheamus finally get his revenge on Pete Dunne? Because Pete Dunne has been a thorn in Sheamus' side over the last couple of weeks, interfering and trying to cause Sheamus in whatever match he's trying to do.
Yes.
But at the same time, does Pete Dunne get the victory he needs to get himself to boost up his character, as it were?
I'm thinking I think Pete Dunne is going to get the win, but it will be obviously it will not be a clean win. In fact, I could even see Pete Dunne getting the win via DQ.
Yeah, because here's the other thing, and I know that they treat NXT as a separate thing. Pete Dunne needs a victory to come in a little strong with this whole thing with Ethan Page, Joe Hendry, and Wesley as well.
Yes.
He needs something to make him look strong coming off of that.
Yes. Randy Orton to appear.
Yeah, I'm interested. I got to see what Orton's going to say because it's been a minute since I've been very invested in a Randy Orton feud, and this Gunther thing. I'm invested, man. I'm 100% along on the ride on this one.
You and me both. So as we touched on earlier, Ivy Nile and Maxine Dupri.
Maxine, I love you. Ivy is taking the win tonight. I love Ivy as well. I like both these women. And just something I came to a conclusion on as far as Maxine goes. And I know this is probably going to contradict what I was saying earlier about how she's coming along in her in-ring. But right now she is better off doing the managing stuff, you know?
Well, I'm 100% with you. I think Ivy takes the win, but I think we do see that's when we see Abby the Witch at least appear for the Wyatt Six. It will depend on if everybody is at ringside or not.
And that also depends on how the interference is going to go, because if the interference is during the match, then that's where Maxine takes the win.
Yes.
And I could see Maxine doing that and being like, oh my God, I got the win. Kind of like You know how in NXT when Thea Hale wins a match and she gets like really overexcited?
Yep.
Kind of like that, you know?
Would almost be like a Lana type situation.
Except better.
Yes. The New Day and Odyssey Jones versus the Final Testament.
Okay, so I know we knock on the New Day a lot, but I'm actually interested in this match tonight.
Me too.
And I'm interested not just because of Kofi and Xavier. I love Xavier. I actually like the stuff he does outside of the ring with up, down, down. I
Yep.
watch a lot of it. But Odyssey Jones is the one that I'm going to be keeping my eye on during this matchup. I'm also going to be keeping my eye on Karrion Kross too, because he's been looking fantastic in the ring lately.
Yes. I'm interested to see if we get a potential heel turn in this match. We know that they've been sort of teasing it or hinting at it.
With Xavier, right?
Yes, but they've done it before with the New Day, and I'm going to go off the rails a little bit. And it's Odyssey Jones that turns.
That sort of makes sense because I've been racking my head around this. And I know that Xavier keeps the up, down, down stuff separate from his in-ring career. But I'm trying to figure out how that would work, how that would affect him as a YouTuber who plays games to cater to his fans. You know what I mean?
Right. But, I mean, you look at Shayna Baszler has a Twitch site that
a lot of people follow. I'm one of them.
So I mean, it doesn't matter because outside of the outside of the WWE, they can be themselves.
Right, because this is true. Because I mean, Xavier Woods does have Shayna Baszler on his show. He has people he's currently feuding with on the show. Sometimes Karrion Kross has showed up on his show a couple of times.
Right. So.
Yeah. So it's. I'm very intrigued. I want to see how this plays out. More so for Odyssey Jones and the Final Testament.
Yes.
Not so much Kofi and Xavier, because I know that right now their spot on the roster is just there to help the new tag teams or the new stables get over. That's their role right now. I don't see them winning a tag team title anytime in the near future.
No, I don't think they need it. I think they've done everything they need to do as far as that goes.
Right.
CM Punk to deliver a can't miss message to Drew.
So you and I were talking about this a little bit earlier today, and it actually clicked into me because like when you were telling me when you were saying a possible strap match down the road, I had completely forgotten that during that fight between Punk and Drew on last Monday's Raw, that Punk got a hold of Drew's belt and started whipping him with it.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, okay, now this makes sense. Maybe we do get that at Bash in Berlin, a strap match between the two men. And it's been a long while since we've seen a good strap match.
Yes.
I say good because we have had strap matches.
Yes. The last good strap match that I believe we saw was Cody and Seth. Or was it Cody and Shinsuke?
Are you talking about the Texas Bull Rope match, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That was pretty much, that was the last one.
So.
But when I think of great strap matches, I got to go to
JBL and Eddie.
Oh, yeah, JBL and Eddie. But this gentleman, Savio Vega and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yep.
That was even Stone Cold has flat out said that's one of his favorite matches he's ever done.
And I know not quite a strap match, but CM Punk has more recently been involved in a dog collar match. Back when he was with All Empty Wrestling against MJF.
That was actually a good match. I will give them that.
Yes.
But yeah, you know what? When Punk makes his way out, I'm hitting that M key here, and I'm muting myself, and I'm just gonna be.
I have a very funny feeling that is the segment that opens the show.
I mean, if you want to start off with a banger, yeah, that's where you go.
And then what is sort of listed right here under the preview as the main event, we've already touched on it, which is the women's tag title triple threat.
Looking forward to this one. Just, the women's, we were talking about this also earlier today about how the tag team division on the main rosters is pretty beefed up. Even in the women's tag team division now is starting to look beefed up. So all three of these women have their proper claim at winning the women's tag team titles.
Yes.
Any one of these women can win it, and I'd walk away happy, you know?
Now, I do have to ask, because we know that as well, coming up later on in the week, we are getting Alba Fire and Isla Dawn teaming with Blair Davenport against Naomi, Bianca, and Jade.
Yeah.
Do we see any interference from SmackDown tonight?
Well, I know Bianca and Jade have been angling to try and get back their women's tag titles. So if you want anybody to show up, that's where you get Jade to show up, because she's they're trying to push her as the bigger star, you know?
Yeah. But I'm thinking, do we get Blair Davenport coming out to assist her newfound allies to keep the belts? And then you do get Naomi, Bianca, and Jade coming out, and it turns everything into disarray. Do we see this match sort of just getting thrown out because there is no control?
If they do that, then there's...
And then you set up a 4-way for Bash in Berlin.
I want to change that from a 4-way to a gauntlet for the tag team titles.
Okay.
I kind of like that idea. Both ideas work well, but I think a gauntlet match could, if you really want to showcase more of Jade's power, a gauntlet match could be the way to do that.
Right. That being said, Mr. Best, I know we do need to wrap things up so that we can get ready for the Raw Patrol in 10 minutes. Bulkster's missing the couch.
Yeah, he misses your couch. I'm like, well, I got my couch still.
Yeah. No, I'm no longer on the casting couch, Bulkster.
Oh, geez.
So that being said, we are going to wrap things up a little bit early so we can get over and get ready to do some new shows. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to find us here and wherever we may be, Mr. Best has a calendar that he can show.
Yeah, I do. Here it is.
And with that being, sorry, Mr. Best, go ahead.
And with just a little programming note, because OMD and I already discussed this Wednesday's PlayStation Showcase will be a part 2 of Five Nights at Freddy's Security Detail. Or Security Breach, sorry.
Oh, it's Security Breach now.
Yeah, sorry. I said Security Detail last night. I made a mistake on the title.
Oh, okay. All right, so, Mr. Best, do we want to save the socials for after the Raw Patrol, or do we want to hit them with it now?
Yeah, we'll wait till the end of the show. We've got to really move on over there. So,
all right. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for joining us. Join us here at 8 o'clock for the Raw Patrol with Carl Carafel, with Chris Parrish. It's good to be back hosting you guys again. Good to see you all. And we will catch you over on the Raw Patrol. So from all of us here at the Boar's Nest, to those of you out there, wherever you are, good night, good luck, we out.
Defy